Alrighty, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today be the 28th of August, and I've got 4 setups for you that I think with a little patience here could turn into some pretty good trades. The only issue is I'm not too sure which way I want to trade them. Reason being the signals aren't all that clear, and the indices, the S&Ps, the Qs, etc. A little bit tricky right now, so first things first, before we jump into Nvidia, Microsoft, AMD, and Google, gotta take a quick look here at the overall market. So the scoreboard says bulls have, let me do this. Alright, so for the S&Ps, scoreboard says bulls have 0 points and the bears have 4. So the momentum, the structure criteria, the stacked DMAs, the moving average crosses, all the ingredients point towards the bears have control. So that's pretty good context. That is the opposite of what we had in May, June, and most of July, where we had buy signals and the scoreboard favored the bulls. So a couple issues here. Issue numero uno, the break in momentum. Coming into the month of August, momentum had already tapped out. And we saw the same pattern there as far as momentum goes. In Apple, Microsoft, a lot of different names. So at the moment, momentum, not quite supportive of a huge rally. And then as long as we're under the daily 50 and under that 21, we should have a sell signal, and that tells us, until that changes, easier for the market to go lower than for it to go higher. So the bears got the scoreboard on the S&Ps and the Qs. The almighty QQQ. Same scoop here, guys. Bulls have 0 and the bears have 4. Momentum issues, structure issues. Until they can get that back above... Really, until they can get back above that 373, everything kind of favors the bears. So the bulls have to punch. They got to punch like Mikey T. And then a quick look here at the small caps and the Dow. And for the little guys here, the Russell, bulls have 0 points and the bears have 4. And so far they're doing a pretty good job of keeping this thing afloat above that daily 200. If they lose 183, you got to close under that daily 200 with a daily sell signal. Ugly stuff. Ugly stuff ahead there for the small caps. And then last but least, the Dow. Again, the bulls have nothing to work with. No momentum, no structure, nada. So that's good context, guys. Momentum criteria, structure criteria, all the good stuff. All the fixins, at least for now. They all kind of point towards the bears have got the edge on the daily charts for all the indices. So with that being said, as far as the 4 setups here, Nvidia, Google, AMD, and Microsoft, you might have heard of a few. These aren't things I think we can trade just yet. Reason being, one, trying to wait until I have a better sense of what do the S&Ps and the Qs want to do. And again, the signals are not bullish. These signals are not bullish. But as far as timing, I'm just trying to get a sense of, are we going to be stuck in a bit more of chop? The dreadful chop? Or do things begin to roll over again, and we're taking out the lows? Or do the bulls strike back, and, and back they come? So, a little bit of patience acquired. But then as far as the setups here, we'll start with Nvidia. And the biggest issue for Nvidia right now is going to be momentum. So as of Friday, we are now printing a brand new daily squeeze. The brand new DS. But again, as far as momentum here, momentum peaked back in June. And think of that like your gas tank. So you fill up the car, you fill up your Rolls-Royce Phantom. And when you fill the car up, you have 500 miles till empty. And then as momentum goes lower here, you have 400 miles, 300, 200, 100. When momentum crosses under the zero line, you're basically driving on E. So Nvidia here, they're driving on E. They've lost the wind at their back. They keep trying to rip this thing higher. Right? They push it. They put in a high. They try to break it out. They try to break it out after earnings. At no point here have they fixed momentum. At no point have they pulled over and filled up the gas tank. So that's part of what makes the squeeze right now not the clearest. If you check out the scoreboard, the Bulls do have control. Bulls have 4 points and the Bears have 1. And then a quick check here of your lower time frames. We have a 4-hour buy signal, a 2-hour, and a 15. Now, what makes Nvidia, I think, really interesting is you have that nested squeeze setup. So these labels down here are for our squeezes. Red means you have a squeeze and a sell signal. Green means you have a squeeze and a buy signal. And blue is neutral. It ain't bullish, it ain't bearish, it is neutral. So we got, count them, 1, 2, 3 neutral squeezes printing on the daily chart, the 2-day chart, and the 3-day chart. And as a reminder, a lot of your bigger moves, or a lot of the best moves, they come from that nested squeeze setup. Think of Netflix from back in March, LRCX back in March, a lot of things back in March. So there's always that potential domino effect where, for conversation's sake, say the daily squeeze fires to the upside. Here comes the Bulls, they're punching, and they break out. Daily squeeze fires long. That alone is going to trigger a nice move, but then there's a potential that the 2-day squeeze also fires to the upside. And then there's a chance of squeeze on the 3-day. That 3D squeeze, that could go on and do the same. So one squeeze fires, then the next squeeze, then the next squeeze. So there's a potential there, but again, right now I can't call for long or short. Daily chart's neutral, the 2-day chart is neutral, the 3-day chart is neutral. And I'm doing this in the market with a scoreboard on the indices. Everything favors the Bears. So by default, until that changes, until they shift momentum, until they shift structure in the S&Ps, the Qs, etc., by default, it makes swing trading to the upside a little bit difficult. For those of y'all in my mastery, everything we've seen on the bull scans, everything that's got the all the ingredients fits the bill, none of it is working to the upside. And that's because of the overall market. So until that changes, it's kind of tough to want to get, aggressively swing long. But what I can tell you is at some point, chances are we're going to look up in 30, 40, 50 days, and the daily squeeze here for Nvidia will have fired long or fired short. And there's a pretty good chance we're looking up in 50, 60 days, and the 2-day squeeze also fired, and the 3-day squeeze also fired. So we did one part of the job. We found the squeezes before they fired, and now our job from here is to just trust the indicators. The daily chart goes bullish for Nvidia. We got a bunch of buy signals. The S&Ps improve. The QQQ improves. The only thing I'd want to do at that point is get long. S&Ps keep puking. The Qs puke. Nvidia gets a daily sell signal. Lower time frame sell signals. The only thing I'd want to do is get short. So I think in about a month, maybe 2 months, we're going to look back here. And Nvidia's probably made a nice move out of that triple squeeze. Question is long or short. To be determined. And that's pretty much the case here, guys, for the next two. Google and Microsoft. So Google, neutral for now. The Bulls have got the edge. They're up 4 points to 1. The scoreboard don't lie, but it's not perfect. And we're only trying to trade the perfect setups. Right now, your structure is fine. You got stacked EMAs. We're above the 21. We're above the 50. Google doesn't have a structural issue. It's got that momentum issue. Gaps up after earnings, pulls back to the 21. A brand new daily squeeze is born, but unlike the daily squeeze from back in May, now momentum for the Bulls is on the wrong side of the fence. If they can't fix that, and they fix that by getting momentum back above the 0 line, if they can't fix that, it doesn't mean Google turns around and fires short. Just means it's very difficult for the stock to have a sustainable move to the upside when momentum is not giving you the oomph. We're missing a little bit of oomph. So for Google, I'm pretty much just on standby. Same thing, I think a month from now, 2 months from now, we'll look back, and pretty good chance that daily squeeze fired long or short. We found the squeeze. Now we got to look for the thumbs up from the market and the thumbs up from the signals here to get long or short. So patience on Google, but when the squeeze does fire, I want me a little bit of that one. And then next up here is Microsoft. So we did have some sell signals here last week. Today the daily sell signal flips to neutral. We gone from red to blue. Checking out the squeeze labels here, you have a lot of squeezes here for Microsoft. The 5-minute, 15-minute, and the hourly, they print a buy signal, the 30-minute, 2-hour, 4-hour daily, and the 3-day, they're neutral. But with a bit of a focus here on the daily squeeze, typically my squeeze of choice, scoreboard says bears have the edge. So by default, no part of me is thinking about getting long. If we had good momentum, if we had buy signals, if the scoreboard was the opposite, if that label over there was green, I would think about getting long. For now, I got to think about, one, trying to avoid the chop. Try to avoid the chop at all costs. But two, if the market breaks lower, I think you're looking for that daily squeeze to break lower as well. The only thing the Bulls have kind of got going for now, and it ain't much, but it's an honest living, they are finding support at the weekly 21. You'll notice the signals have gone from bullish to neutral, green to blue, so they already lost their buy signal, but they hold support around 320 for now. I would imagine if you get a weekly close under the weekly 21, we should see that daily squeeze fire short. So Nvidia, Google, and Microsoft are they're coming up the pipeline. One that we have been trading, and we still got to trade here for now, is AMD. Now the difference here between AMD and Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, the signals here for AMD are pretty clear. We got the squeeze and we got the sell signal. So therefore we have the squeeze signal. Again, it's going to be market willing. If the S&Ps and the Qs just grind higher for the next week, AMD is probably going to grind higher as well. If the S&Ps and the Qs roll over, I think this daily squeeze takes AMD down towards that daily 200. So what we've done here is we shorted it once, caught the first flush, took a paycheck, took the profits off the table, and then on the next bounce, we took a portion of those profits, rolled into another trade, caught another flush, again took those profits, and then we rolled a little bit of those profits into a third trade. So we have a quote-unquote free trade with some 90 strike puts for a September expiration. Now, worst case scenario here, AMD goes to $200. Just gaps up and takes out the highs. Those 90 puts will go to 0. We'll lose on that trade. Between the 3 trades, we're going to walk away with a nice net profit. That's worst case scenario. No matter what happens, we're going to leave that daily squeeze with a nice paycheck. Best case scenario, AMD goes down towards 90-ish. And we're making a little bit mo. So that one I see a little bit clearer. Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, it's a game of patience for now. And that game of patience is pretty much just trying to figure out what do the S&Ps and the Qs want to do from here. We are heading into tomorrow with a good amount of lower time frame buy signals. So they got a little ammunition here. 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, hourly. But the biggest issue is that daily scoreboard. The scoreboard and that daily sell signal. So be patient. Pick your spots wisely. And I think, a little patience here. The daily squeezes in AMD, Nvidia, Google, and Microsoft could make for a few good trade opportunities. And I am a fan of good trade opportunities. But alright folks, if you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit the like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below and let me know your favorite NFL team. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Actually, if you're from Buffalo, New York, let me know down here in the comments what's the best steakhouse in Buffalo, New York. My brother and I are going to the Buffalo Bills game on November 13th. Monday Night Football. Just so happens they're playing the Broncos, and just so happens I'm a Broncos fan. So I'm going to bravely enter the Bills Mafia territory, rocking my Bronx gear. So if you're from Buffalo, let me know a good steakhouse, a good pizza joint, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Adios.